Hello, good morning. This morning I wrote a little something, a couple pages long. Just thought I'd share it with you guys on how I feel about everything. All right, so I'm gonna start off and say Greg Bain never spoke up about the facts of my case, especially my dealings with the department and TLC. Mr. Bain nor anyone else didn't speak up when my twins had to get circumcised or the abuse that I told Greg Bain about on a regular basis. He just kept telling me to look through the trees. They were quick to play devil's advocate to crucify Juan on the stand, but their vision was blurred because the truth is the truth. Juan is not a violent man, but is very concerned for his children's well being, as am I. After 18 days of our children being in foster care, we were allowed a 1 hour visit at DSS. That's when I discovered all my children had head lice, something my kids have never had before in their life. I even had the nurse at Booker Elementary School write letter on my behalf, which was submitted to Greg Bain, but somehow did not get submitted to the courts. Then we get another visit 2 weeks later at the park, Gosnell Hope Park. It's Valentino's first birthday when we noticed a weight difference in the baby. Zyler had bruising on his mouth. Juan had grave concerns for the well being of his children at this time. Zyler, 2, Valentino, 1, the foster mom, started yelling and cussing, and she interrupted a football game that was going on at the park. Juan was so concerned, he went to the players and got their contact information, and they said, if they needed to write a statement or whatever on our behalf on what they witnessed, they would have. But none of that got brought up. Okay. Okay. So at this time, we are beyond concern for our children. Again, I tell Bane my issues and concerns, and he tells me to look through the trees to comply with services of DSS. And okay, and then when the sorry, I lost my thought. And then when the children enter respite, it was a very old couple who told us at visit that they only give them water to drink, and he puts them to bed at 6 p.m. I was like, what the hell? I was told that they were doing only giving Valentino water bottles and milk, and Valentino was on solid food at that time. I was devastated that my son had been starving for them weeks. Just as Miss St. Kitts, they contracted head lice. The twins were always banged and bruised up. They circumcised both of the twins. Her Chihuahua bit Valentino. She was in a car accident with 4 of my children. She was always late on visitation. She had a belt mark across Zion's leg, both legs. TLC called CPS on her. She shaved my children's hair. Um, Sebastian missed doctor's appointments for the dog bite for his face, or she would go to the doctor's appointment early and tell me an hour later that the appointment was, so I would never be on time for the appointments. And Nikki Dancing took me to a few appointments and witnessed that for herself. And we told Tamika Dozier, and nothing was ever done about that. And it is what it is. Um, Sebastian had no school lunch for 9 months. When I got custody back of the kids and they were in my care, I got a letter sent home saying that he owed over $200 for school lunches. So yeah, yeah. Um, she didn't tell me about Sebastian's pre-K graduation, and that tore me up. I was allowed to go to that. Everybody knew that I was supposed to be there and I was supposed to be a participant of that, and I wasn't, and it broke me down. It really did. Okay. And she had other men living in the house that the state doesn't know about. So she's married. She has her husband there, and I just want to know why The department thinks that it's a single living home when there's other people there. If y'all want us to be concerned, if y'all concerned about us and y'all doing deep investigations into our homes, you need to do it in these foster homes too. Okay. So, Valentino had breathing problems because she used to smoke in front of him and it caused him asthma, and she would smoke around the kids all the time. All the time. Valentino had hives. Her bird bit Zyler's finger one time. Left a bruise on his finger. And of course, I noticed that at visitation, Zion had a black pinky nail. And she said that his twin brother had shut his finger in the door. But I don't know because I wasn't there. They called her mom. Just a lot of issues with Miss St. Kitts. And I just feel like if these are common accidents, then why did they crucify me? Just saying. Okay. I'm gonna skip this little bit dealing with the boys, the older boys, because I'm still dealing with him. But if that changes, I'll make another video. As for myself, I came to visits with diapers, wipes, sippy cups. I brought games, clothing, just about every week. When school came around, I supplied school clothes, socks, shoes, backpacks for each child. I did Christmas every year. I still do Christmas and I still do birthdays. A friend of mine still supplies school supplies, backpacks, and clothing for the children. Still to this day. And I learned they would go to the free backpack drives to get backpacks and things like that. So it's not like it's a big expense that they're paying, honestly. Okay. Um, and I wrote, DSS never can help families because they don't get to the root of the problem. Workers play favorites and they say they don't like you, then you're SOL. Shut out of luck. The problem in my case was not Juan labeling him an issue, but he needed to be educated. But what the department asked of him, and yet they stated to him, is low blows about his personality, something that he was born with, instead of getting to the root of the problem, basics to raising children. Everyone makes mistakes, but Juan wasn't allowed to make one. Juan took the parenting classes, solving the issues of leaving Valentino in the bathtub, a lesson that the whole family will never forget. Juan completed the classes, got certificates for the parenting classes, and more. Juan went to his visits. The issue in my case was not me nor Juan. Sometimes it matters who you know, and we had no one on our side. No doctors went on trial for Juan's behalf, and as for the department on my behalf, they tried to treat issues of my past instead of working towards my goals for a healthy future for my children, like my degree at Thomas Nelson or my job at 7-Eleven, or after I got fired, I started at One Day Life Treatment. When my children was taken, I was in school and I was working. I had a 3-bedroom house, a SUV truck, and was shooting for the stars. The department CPS refused to help me with my childcare. So I took a TANF class which will help with my childcare issues. The facts about me: I worked at 7-Eleven from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Went to school at Thomas Nelson. I try to be a great mother to my children at all times. I was part of the PTA at Booker Elementary School. The kids were updated on their shots. The kids were updated on the dentist. The only issue at the time was child care and Valentino's Medicaid. But even though that the department didn't give me Medicaid, every time I went to the doctors, I have a doctor's note for that. And I took it upon myself to take him to the free clinic to get his shots. So although they didn't help me, I went upon myself and went a step further and did what I had to do. Anyways, so while CPS knew my issues of everything, and I took Valentino to get his shots at the free clinic because they were no help at the time. I wrote this a while ago. More facts about the case. No one wanted to help Juan get his ID, which was $560 because his visa had expired. Then Greyhound tickets to California. We purchased two tickets. The first ticket, immigration told him not to go because he could get picked up at any stop from here to California. And then DSS refused to give Juan a notary for his background check. How hard is that? You took the man's kids. You say he don't have an ID, but you know that's him. Why couldn't you sign the fucking notary? So we had to go beyond to get a fucking $10 notary. Like, come on, man. Like, they were fucking pure assholes to us. Anyway, refused to help Juan get his Medicaid. Okay, listen to this. So they want you to take medicine, but they don't want to help you get Medicaid, and they don't want the FAP team to help you get your prescription. So what the fuck was we supposed to do? So we actually paid for two prescriptions, and then a second ticket to California because the children were taken a second time from my care. So we didn't want this to happen. We thought they were going to work with us for 4 months. They didn't work for us. Then we went to court. Like, what the fuck? How do you want a man to stop being a father when he's always been there for his kids? Like, this doesn't make fucking sense. Anyways, so the children were placed back in foster care. And remind you, Juan was in California, so I was by myself over here, crying myself like it was bad. Anyways, took Juan 11 months to get his ID. Judge told DSS to help, and they didn't. They said the word family in the case, but no one stood up for the value of family. I know my story is all over the place. I'm sorry, guys. Because the department was too busy dividing the family apart. Values are the family's ideas of strong personal beliefs on what's important and what's not, what's right and what's wrong. My family had a strong beliefs, the importance of honesty, the meaning of brotherhood, and the belief in God. All of the 10 commandments, and now I am unaware of what my children are being taught. Come to think about it, we was like a number on an assembly belt just waiting on our turn to age out of foster care. Foster care taught me no real value. It wasn't their job to do so. No one wants their child to wonder who they are. We are a reflection of our parents unless the system comes in and breaks the cycle. As fair as the department claims to be, it's unrealistic to think that they want families to stay together, especially since Cook couldn't even identify a safety plan in the court and couldn't remember what was said in the March meeting 2 weeks before the children was placed back in my care. Juan was never a threat to any of my 7 children on the case, but it was not their concern for the children's safety or happiness. They were biased to Juan because of his medical issues and never interviewed Juan or had a doctor come on stand. They've made remarks like they'd rather me free brace crack cocaine in front of the children instead of Juan being their father. I'm sorry, I feel like I lost the page. But I don't know. And then as far as the dog bite goes, the dog is dead. CPS from Newport News opened up the case October, 1 month after the dog bite case, November of 2015. I don't understand why CPS knocked on my door of December of 2015 when I moved to Hampton, the end of October. CPS came to my house for 9 months with no issue with Juan in the home. Now, here's a near drowning happens, and now Juan is unfit to be in the home. The question remains, who can have accidents and who can't? Who gets to choose? The Newport News worker said a parent had to be charged, but I never went to court for it, and a judge never heard the case. Plus, I sued and won both times for dog bites on my sister's dog, which is the truth. And I hate to say it, but my sister was watching the children at the time when, the dog bit Sebastian. She was right there. Anyways, and the day before Sebastian was bit, Zion was bit, and we had to give him stitches. Sebastian's bite was way worse, and we had to get 2 surgeries. Sebastian was update on his dog bite treatment. Stephanie was not Stephanie was not allowed to get the children because of her involvement. Oh yeah, Stephanie was not allowed to get the children because of her involvement with the case, the dog bite case. Which I don't understand because the dog was put to sleep and she was never charged. I got charged. So that's kind of like double jeopardy to me. Like, how can they say, okay, well, you can't have the kids and you can't have the kids because you was there too? Like, what the fuck? Anyways, um, I don't understand because I was charged and she wasn't. But now for placement, she's unqualified. But Joanne Johnson took my kids illegally. She didn't have a warrant signed by a judge at the moment, and I was unaware, but she forced me to sign, or she was going to take the kids that night. At this time, Valentino's alone 4 days at CHKD, and all I was allowed to do was call the hospital at the time. Facts about DSS. They don't follow through with the judge's orders to help the family. DSS acted concerned about the well-being of my children, but didn't help the kids when the abuse was happening inside of a foster home. Valentino's dog bite, for instance, or Sebastian's lunch paid for. Why did the foster parent have child care, but I was denied by CPS? I took a TANF class of April 2016 for the child care, exactly 1 month before my children were taken. Anyways, DSS failed Juan by not helping pay for meds or ID or notary or background check. Couldn't help him but could take his kids. DSS didn't want to help with one payment of DSS did help with one payment of our rent because I did pay for the immigration, and like I said, that was $560. So DSS actually paid a portion of the payment of our rent, and then we ended up getting fucked anyways because they didn't pay for the late fees. So I had to come out of pocket again to pay for the late fees. I know that's not their problem, but if you're trying to assist parents on getting their children back and you're asking this of them, then that should be your job to help to get the children into the home, is get what the parents need. I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling, but I gotta throw it out there. And then I gotta say, my children, they got screwed in the deal because everybody was being biased towards Juan instead of getting 7 boys home, okay? Which was 2 overworked parents who needed childcare so they could complete the goals I had already set forth for myself, which was staying employed and finishing school at Thomas Nelson. But they was clouded by their own issues on Juan. So my 7 children are still in foster care. The goal was better income for a better life, but that was taken from me too soon because of certain people's involvement on my case. And it's crazy because my children was neglected by the system, who was people chosen. These are people that's supposed to be chosen not to hurt your children, but they did. Unfortunately, the system is overcrowded and the kids are only state numbers. Another child in the system, instead of DSS giving me another chance at raising my own children who I want, DSS wasted months after Juan left, at least 4, kept me in limbo for better term. So May until August, I had no clue DSS planned to never give me another chance with my kids. But DSS reasoning to keep the kids away from their father is still unclear to me. Not to mention, I don't understand why children have to take medication at 5 years old and have been for years, especially the type of psych meds that they're on. I will say this about the judge. The judge asked Juan to go home, which was right across the street. And no, the judge didn't ask Juan. What the fuck? All right. Let me start that a little bit over. All right. Okay. Juan did move across the street when they asked us to leave because, I mean, he didn't know anybody in the neighborhood, but, our neighbors and stuff. Well, anyways. And DSS knew his address and even did a home inspection at the address across the street from my house. They did an inspection for Juan to see if his children could come there. Why would they do all this? Anyways, Miss Dozier approved the home for Juan's 3 kids to do visits at 123 Rosewood, Hampton, Virginia. Ms. Dozier did a home visit and approved my place at Glenwood in Hampton, Virginia. So I don't know why the department didn't follow the judge's orders to help the family. We needed help with Juan's ID, meds, and we needed a little behind on rent. They only paid the rent, not the late fees. Judge gave orders and DSS didn't comply. Also, they didn't want to help him get his insurance, which is Medicaid. There was they discriminated one point blank period because of everything. Honestly, when they first met him, his race, his mental illness, like everything. Several lawyers didn't even, certain people didn't even meet with Juan. So how can they judge him? And I wanted to say that, a doctor never went on stand saying, hey, this man is unfit. This man is unsafe to be around the kids. That's never happened. So if that never happened, we can't use, a lawyer's opinion because that's not what they're qualified to do. They're qualified to do the law. A doctor, it works with patients. So, I will say that. Like, they're all over the place. And if you want to be real, you want to know how social services really could have helped the family. Although I did give my son CPR, maybe give us training. Give us training. Yes. I've thought about this night after night after night. My children have been in foster care for almost 4 fucking years. You understand? And it's killing me. I haven't seen them in fucking 751 days. Like, probably more than that now. And I'm just like, y'all don't understand. I've thought about this. So you think giving me, parenting classes is going to help the issue? No, 9 times out of 10, that doesn't help the issue. If it's a drowning case like my issue, okay, let's educate the parents. Let's give them a CPR class, maybe Heimlich maneuver class, which I already took. How you think I knew what to do to save my son? But I'm just saying, like, CPS don't know what they're doing. Half the time they're young graduates that really don't understand, and they're trying to get they're trying to learn from all these old heads that's been in the department for over 20 fucking years, and they hate their job, they hate their life, they have personal vendettas against everybody in fucking Hampton. I don't know why they do the shit that they do, but they're not doing it by code, they're not doing it by book. If a judge tells you help these people in any way possible to get their children home, and if insurance is one of them, then you need to do your motherfucking job. You work at fucking DSS. You work at, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Anyways, let me try to read these last few pages real quick because they're about certain people and I can't mention them. Anyways, let me just show y'all some proof right quick since I got you here. Look, this is my TANF paper that I went to the class. I don't know if y'all can see that, but yep, I went to the class. That's my TANF paper. So a month before the kids, it was April 7th. The children were taken from me May 2nd of 2016. This is me and Juan's agreement Um, the lady that I was having look at it, she spilled coffee on it, but it's okay. But this is the agreement from DSS on June 2nd that me and Juan was supposed to get the kids back, and that didn't happen. Yeah, that's the back of it. And I just think that it's fucked up, and I got all this evidence to show my kids. I'll show this evidence as well. They have my son on medicine. Zion. And then that's what. Can you see? Can I see? I can't see. Anyways, this is what he was taking, which is like synthetic Seroquel because I looked it up. So yeah. And then let's look at this. This is all my P2P meetings. That's signed by the social worker and whoever else was on. And a lot of these are just saying good things, honestly. Let's see. Let me see. I'm trying to find one about Juan. Some of it was just talking about like I completed with services and what else they wanted me to do. Just saying Ms. Wyford reports that she's still attending her intensive individual therapy sessions at mental health every 2 weeks. Ms. Wyford reported that she's participating in her therapy sessions fully. Ms. Wyford has completed all the required parenting classes and provided copies of her sister. Oh, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Certificates to the Department of Social Services. Ms. Wyford continues to remain drug-free and is willing to take random drug tests at any time the department sees fit. The department had a family engagement meeting in the attendance of Ms. Wyford's biological mother, Ms. Dancing, Marlon Hart, Calandra Cook, Family Services and Supportive Supervisor, Ms. Shirley Bowie, Foster Care and During this meeting, the department discussed the transitional plan for all 7 kids. So this is when the kids were coming home. Child placement on April 1st with the Saturday visits at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Going home, Saturday home visits will continue until April 8th. I mean, look, I did so good. I'm going home. I did so great. They're going home, right? That's how good I did. That's how great I did for the department. I know I'm all over the place with this shit because it's like it's aggravating. It's bullshit. And I'm not a lawyer, but my lawyer should have had my back. And if he didn't feel that I was fit or qualified, or if he didn't like Juan for whatever reason, then he should have told me so. I should have gotten another attorney. Because let me just say this. Your attorney is supposed to do the law. That's it. The law. And if you're helping the mother, your only job is to get these children home. That's your job. You're supposed to go up there and state the facts. I don't think that my parents being dead or my brother being shot or my other brother going to prison, I don't think that those are the facts on my case. The facts on my case is that me and Juan did what the department asked of us to do. They asked Juan to leave about February, and I got the kids around, what was it, May, April, April. So that's like 11 months. Yeah, April, because so that's 11 months after the children enter foster care that I was allowed to give my kids back, and we're working on an 18-month limit. They never really wanted to give me my kids back, but they had to give my kids back because I did everything that they asked me to do. But yet they couldn't identify a safety plan on stage. I mean, on stand. It's really early in the morning. It's like 5. What time is it? 5:15. Yeah, it's early. But they couldn't identify a safety plan, so there wasn't one. I mean, they kept on saying all this bullshit, but they didn't state no facts on my case, and it just pisses me off because I'm over this bullshit. How can grown people go up on stage to keep, I mean, on stand to keep your kids in care? And you know how much I love them. And you kept saying, like, oh man, this is going to keep me up at night. You're sleeping fine at night with your family or whatever the fuck you got going on, whoever is listening. And I'm not sleeping well at night. Like, yesterday was bad as hell for me. But, anyways, yeah. What I wrote is just like what happened with the case. Like, I need to put it together and I need to submit it.